In this session, we're going to talk about the golden mean, or the golden proportion. There is a number somewhere in which the smaller number is the same ratio as the bigger number. If we had 1/2 and 1.5, and we did 1/2 of 1.5, it would be 0.75. If we did 3/4 of 1 3/4, it would come out to 1 1/3 about. If we found some number that's in between that, and that was a proportion of 1, and then we took that same proportion above 1, we would come back to 1. Is there some number that is a number that would work? Well, here's that number, 0.61803, and it's an irrational number. It just keeps going. Is the same as 1.61803, and so forth. And if you multiply one by the other, you wind up with 1. In other words, 0.618 over 1 is the same as 1 over 1.618. Now, what's the significance of that? I don't know, but here's how it would look on a piece of paper. If you take a square, we'll start with a square, and you flip one side down, make another rectangle out of that, flip that side down, make another one, flip that side down, make another one. You see what we're doing here? We just keep making boxes, and you see how they all look like they're sort of like a piece of paper, that right kind of size when you look at the outside rectangle that keeps getting formed. All of these are a relationship to one another. And here's the last one. It just keeps going indefinitely, but each one of those rectangles winds up like being the same proportions. Now, if we put a dot right in the middle of each of those squares that we wound up creating, and then connecting each of those with a line that goes right through the middle of each of them, whoops, a little off, then it creates a particular shape, and we know that shape in music, and we know it in other works of art. In fact, it's not just a bass clef, the F clef, that uses this golden proportion. Well, this isn't very well drawn, but the treble clef is also full of those kinds of proportions. This golden mean, this golden proportion, it's everywhere, and it occurs in nature. So to put it into number form, what we just did with the rectangles, each side went from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 8. And what would be the next number? 13. That's right, because you add up the two numbers that just happened, and you get the next number. And it just keeps going. Stop at 89. The ratio of one of those numbers to another, well, 1 to 1 is 1.0, that's the ratio, right? And 1 to 2 is 0.5. Well, that's not very convincing yet. The 2 to 3 is 0.67, 3 to 5 is 0.6, 5 to 8 is 0.625, 8 to 13 is 0.618. Does this start to look familiar? And then we go to 0.62 and 0.61 something or other. So it is this number, 0.618, this golden proportion. And it naturally occurs. Even if we started with a 1 by 10 square, look how quickly it adjusts itself. See how those 10 digits will go 2, 3, 5, and the next one's 8. If you were looking in nature, you would see a nautilus shell that is in these same proportions. They grow naturally that way. Or you could look at a sunflower seed or sunflower and see the seeds. If you counted the number of seeds in a row and there were 8 in one row, there'd be 13 in the next, and there'd be 21 in the next. This just is a ratio that occurs in nature on a regular basis. It would show up even in artwork. If you're trying to find the right proportions for something, I tried to design a piano lid, and I tried it using simple ratios, 1/4 the width and 4 times the length, and so forth, and it just didn't look quite right. So then I used these golden proportions of 13, 21, 34, 8, and it looked more musical, more artistic somehow. People who've taken photography classes learned that you want to put this subject about 3/5, 2/3 of the way from left to right, or right to left, top to bottom, bottom to top. There are actually 4 different golden means in any given picture, and that's where you want to put the centers of attention. You can see all kinds of artworks that use that. Well, let's talk about it in music, because that's the center of what we're going to talk about. Picture any one of these melodies, all right? These 3 melodies, they all are structured the same way. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Second phrase, 2, 3, 4. There's a new part. 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, and we're done. So there are 15 beats, you might say. And this is beat number 9 out of 15, which is 0.6 of the way through. It's the golden mean, where we have the sort of bridge-like feel. If we were creating a song, just a pop song, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, chorus. Well, that's 8 different sections. Guess which one is section 5? It's the bridge. The bridge is the thing that sounds different, goes a different direction, uses a different harmony. It's a noticeable kind of thing, and this is a natural proportion that we use in songs on a regular basis, whether we're conscious of it or not. Now, if we added a couple more choruses to that song, it would feel like a worship song that was somehow going into overtime. We are purposely dwelling and spending more time on that song. It would be a little out of balance. We do the same thing with movies or TV shows. If a movie's 90 minutes long, or the TV show is 20 minutes long or 55 minutes long, those are numbers that we've already seen show up. So here's how it would work. You develop the characters and you develop your setting at the very beginning, and then you start to establish your plot. And when you get about 61.8% of the way through, there is a twist to that plot. And you don't know how it's going to end at that point. But if you could notice that twist, you would know how long the movie's going to last, or how long the TV show's going to last. And if the twist happened too soon, there would be something in you that would just say, this show seems to be going long. I don't know why it feels too long. Well, it felt too long because the unusual thing that happened too soon, before the golden mean. This is all about this golden proportion and golden mean. We have covered a whole lot of math and a whole lot of ground, but this is a very important principle in music. You'll find it in Bach, in Chopin. You'll find it in just pop songs, because it's a part of nature. So you may need to spend some more time looking through all this and digesting these numbers, but I think you'll find it to be a very useful bit of information.